Michael, the UN has called for restraint and always asks for these things to end, but it's a toothless tiger in this sense. You know, the UN's got 193 different members in it, and often they can't agree on a lot of things. But it usually only ends when Hamas has run out of steam and feels like it's given Israel a bloody nose, right?
Well, that's right. And also, when Israel decides that it has taught Hamas a lesson. As you say, the Security Council has no real powers, and the American ambassador to the Security Council, to the UN, says that right now, you know, a strong statement of condemnation could actually backfire, because she says, you know, the Biden administration is working tirelessly behind the scenes along diplomatic lines. Now, what you're saying is right. These two sides keep punching away until they exhaust themselves. Essentially, what the Israelis are doing is what is sometimes described in Israeli security circles as mowing the grass. You know, every now and then we all have to go out and mow the front lawn because the grass grows up and the weeds grow up, and if you don't do that regularly, they'll take over. Well, in this case, the grass and the weeds are the Hamas militants, and that's what Israel is doing. And the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, did a Sunday morning news interview here in America, and he essentially illuminated this point about it mowing the grass. He never said that, but he said, we're going to continue this operation until we degrade Hamas's abilities and we degrade their will to attack again. He says they're going to do everything they have to do to re-establish deterrence. Now, we can pick up this story from precisely where you and I left off last Friday, Peter, because when we spoke last Friday, the Israeli military had just released a tweet to say that ground troops were attacking in Gaza. Well, it now turns out that wasn't the case. And according to reports coming out of Israel and the Israeli media, that was all part of a ruse, allegedly, using the international media to tell Hamas that ground forces were coming so that they would flood their tunnels with their troops. And then for the next hour or two, the Israeli Air Force pounded those tunnels. And according to some reports out of Israel, they claim hundreds of militants were killed.
Wow.
Right now, we just don't know the truth of that. But that's what's going on. That's the extent of what's going on. And, you know, the sort of skullduggery that goes on in these kinds of asymmetrical conflicts.
Amazing. Really interesting too. Michael, we'll have to keep it brief today. I've got Dave Sharma, our former ambassador to Israel, coming up in the program to explain his thoughts. He was there back in 2014. It'll be interesting to get his thoughts on that too, and where to from here.